Yeah. You know what? Hell yeah. Hello, Bandannas. Khumo Markham here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where people watch me speak about whatever crosses my mind, and I'm okay with that. I am in between scripting for multiple videos, so I thought for this week, you know what? Let's leave the scripts aside. Let's let them marinate and do a little book haul, show you all of my recent pickups. Some of these I've read, some of these I am yet to get to. In fact, a lot of these I'm yet to get to. So you know what? This is gonna be chill. Grab your favorite drink. Let us kiki. Let me show you all of my books. You know what? It's a vibe. We're gonna start with that pile and then get into this one because I did not organize this the best way, but you know what? Let us get into it. Book number one, we have If We Were Villains by ML Rio. Now, this book I actually have read. I picked this up and I started reading it immediately. In fact, I was reading Lolita as I started this one, so you could tell how excited I was to read it. It was interesting. I hated reading it so much. Like, there was so many times where I thought I want to DNF this book, but I've never DNF'd a book before unless it's a self-help book. I'm looking at you, Atomic Habits. I'm looking at you, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But this one, love-hate relationships. It's in my top 10 favorite books right now because that ending, oh my God, it's so good. Perfect dark academia vibes. If that's what you're looking for, definitely check it out. It has a lot of Shakespeare, which I really loved because Shakespeare girly here, okay? The next two books are from one of my favorite authors. In fact, I think this is my comfort author. I know I'm always gonna get good stories when I pick up his books. This is A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall, as well as 10 Things That Never Happened by Alexis Hall. I love Alexis Hall so much. Boyfriend Material and Husband Material are two of my favorite books of all time. Not in my top 10, but favorite books of all time still. A Lady for a Duke actually has a trans woman as a lead character, and I'm super excited about that. This is my first trans lead book. I need to pick up more. I know. This is a period drama, which I'm also a sucker for, so I cannot wait to get into this one. I have not read it yet. Then we have 10 Things That Never Happened, which happened in the same universe as Boyfriend and Husband Material. So excited about this. Also, one of the main characters has a Scouse accent, so I'm gonna be having fun reading this in a Scouse accent. I cannot do it. I'd rather not do it for you. I'd rather save your ears, but you know what? I'm excited to get into this one. The next book we have is American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. Now, funny story, I have been wanting to watch the movie American Psycho for so long, but there's something that's just been putting me off, and that is all of the straight men that label it as their favorite movie. So I was like, it's probably not good if the straight boys like it. Let's be real, okay? Because straight men have very questionable taste when it comes to film. I decided to pick it up because Luca Guadagnino, aka one of my favorite directors of all time, is adapting this book into a film of his own. So I thought, you know what? This is the perfect time for me to engage with the source material before a Luca Guadagnino American Psycho comes out. So I'm super excited. I picked this up. When I was picking this up, there was a boy there who was looking at me weird. He's like, are you sure you want to pick up that book? I was like, yeah, what is wrong with you, doofus? Also, I wanted a different cover. I could not get this initial cover, and I'm so sad about it. But this one is good. It's not the best. It's not the best, but it's good. Moving on, we got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, as well as Other Stories by Robert Louis Stevenson. This was a book suggested by none other than Stephen Fry. In an interview with Jack Edwards asked him which books he would want to read for the first time again. And he said Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, as well as The Picture of Dorian Gray, which I'm currently reading and almost done with it. This book is so good, oh my God, but it's not part of the whole, okay? This is part of the whole. I picked this up because I was like, Stephen Fry, good recommendation, obviously, and I want to see what it's all about. I have no idea what it's all about, but it says, Victorian London is the setting of the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Stevenson's famous story of conflict between dual personalities, one good and one ruthlessly evil. I'm so excited about this book. I cannot wait to get into it. Let's get into the next three books. These are all Collins classics. I love Collins classics because they're very accessible. Like, they're not steep in price in comparison to Penguin. Okay, Penguin is a little bit crazy with the prices. I think classic literature especially should be very accessible because these are stories that are relevant throughout time. These are stories that you want everybody to have access to and be able to read. So put them at lower prices. The first one is Homer's The Iliad. When I was picking this up, funny story, there was a boy. Like, there's always a boy. Okay, this boy was like, this is his favorite classic and he loves it so much. And I was like, oh my God, okay, so should I pick it up? He's like, yeah, get it. And then the next time we run into each other, we can talk about it. There is a fly in my house. Anyway, he was like, the next time, you know, we meet, we can talk about it. I was like, oh, so we are gonna meet again. We exchanged Instagrams, and then I found out through his Instagram that he got a job in Japan and that he's moving. So him and I are never gonna run into each other again, and we're not gonna discuss this once I finish reading it. So it's like, what was the point of doing all of that? This fly is really starting to get to me, but I'm very excited about this. It's the story of Achilles as well. The next one is 1984 by George Orwell. Now, George Orwell's 1984 was not in my to-read books. It did not interest me until I saw a lot of conservatives speaking about it on Twitter. And I was like, that's interesting, because I know conservatives are really bad at media analysis, at interpreting literature, so I know they're definitely misquoting this book. I was like, I want to pick it up and read it for myself, and so that every time they bring it up, I'm able to provide a counter argument for whatever point that they're making in reference to this book. The last one is Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. I have no idea what it's about. Sorry, I just picked it up because people speak about Charles Dickens and they're like, you know, he's a just amazing author. So I was like, I'm gonna give him a chance, and I picked up Great Expectations. If he's good, I'm gonna pick up more of his work, because I am interested in all of these, you know, historical figures that wrote books, and I love that. So these are 3 Collins classics. And the last book of the classics that I have, and the last of the straights, because it's time we move back to the gay content, we have The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor. I'm not gonna say that's her name, I butchered it. I loved White Nights by him. It was such a beautiful story. So I decided to pick this up because some girl on TikTok was like, I'm obsessed with this book. She had her book tabbed and she was like, it's one of the greatest stories she's ever read, and like she loves it. And one thing about me, I will trust the girls, okay? The girls on Book Talk, my Book Talk specifically, they have never done me wrong. They've always given me such incredible recommendations. So whatever they suggest, I am going to pick up. And this is one of the books that they suggested. Now, it is a bit beefy. It's a beefy book, okay? But I survived a little life. I think I can survive this. It's pretty much the same amount of pages. So yeah, that is The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor. Okay, now we go back to the gays. Okay, I'm so excited. We have Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. The gays have been like raving about this book for so long, and it's been in my to-buy list for so long, and I finally got to pick it up on my birthday. I'm so excited to get into this. It's a story about this brown boy named Adriel, and he summons a ghost and he can't get rid of him, and they spend time together, I think, and they start falling in love, but they can't let each other go. I cannot wait to get into this. I'm super excited. Next up, we have Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth. It's my first Sapphic romance, I think. It's a story about Lucy. It's set in an Irish village of Crossmow. It is set in the 1990s. Lucy falls in love with Susanna. She lives a double life. She steals moments with Susanna. I cannot wait to get into this one. By the cover, I'm getting so much. I don't know why I'm getting so much Call Me By Your Name vibes. I love Call Me By Your Name. It's my favorite film and book of all time. Like, absolutely in love with that story, and I just know this is gonna be good. Okay, I just know it. I know it in my heart that I'm gonna love this, and it's probably gonna make my top 3, so I hope it does not let me down. Next up, we have Shaggy Bane by Douglas Stewart. Love Douglas Stewart. Young Mungo is one of my favorite books of all time, actually in my top 10. Oh my god, it broke me in ways that I never thought I could be broken after reading Call Me By Your Name and after reading A Little Life, but it did just that. He writes so incredibly, and I love that he writes with the dialect in which they speak in Glasgow. This book follows Shaggy Bane and his, you know, coming of age story, as well as him dealing with having a mother who struggles with drug addiction, or is it alcohol addiction? I think one of the two. So it is set in Glasgow as well. I cannot wait to get into this. I literally cannot wait. I know it will not disappoint. He was such a fantastic writer with Young Mungo, but this was his debut novel, so I'm hoping it's just as good, if not better. Yeah, that is Shaggy Bane by Douglas Stewart. Douglas Stewart, check him out. Please check out Young Mungo. So beautiful. Next up, this is a little bit funny, but we have The Riddle of the Sands by Jeffrey Knight. Now, this is, yeah. You know what? Hell yeah. It is called The Hot Gay Tomb Raiders. I do not know what this book is about. I only picked it up because the lady who was at the bookstore that I picked this up was so nice that I had to leave with something, and I was like, what do y'all have in your gay section? Okay, let me see what I can find. And this was it. This is a secondhand book, by the way, also. One of the first secondhand books that I've ever bought. Yeah. There we go. Next up, we have In Memoriam by Alice Wynne. I am so excited to get into this one personally. I heard so many great things about it. It gives me a lot of like Man in Orange Shirt, My Policeman vibes. It is set in 1914 during the First World War. The synopsis says it is a devastating love story between two young men that moves from the sheltered idyll of the public school to the unspeakable horrors of the First World War. Gaunt and Elwood will live in your minds long after you've closed the final pages. I am so excited. I just know it's gonna be good. I know it's gonna break my heart. I hope it breaks my heart. I hope it leaves me in tears, sobbing, screaming for help. The next two books are from an author that I'm excited to get into. I have not read this author's work, and that is The Swimming Pool Library as well as The Spotswold Affair by Ellen Hollinghurst. Now, listen, The Swimming Pool Library is one of the books that I see a lot of like very, like academia gays suggest. They like, this book is so good. This book is like the best, and I know I'm going to love it. This was, again, another secondhand pickup. I really want to start buying secondhand more because I buy a lot of my books new, and that isn't always necessary. Also, it's really fun to support local bookstores. The lady who suggested this was so nice to me, and she was like, I love your heels, oh my god, and she walked me through her little bookstore, and it was so cute. I got this on my birthday as well. This is The Spotswold Affair by Ellen Hollinghurst as well. I also do not know what this book is about, but it's also set in England in Oxford University in the 1940s. Sign me up, okay? Anything that is said in the early 1900s and is said in England, I live for. I will chew it up, especially if it's queer love and we know we can't be together. We can't build a family together, Frank. What is your business? Wait, Frank is very American. We can't be together, Tom. What did you think we were gonna do? Build a life together as man and man? That could never work. And then they separate. And one of them dies. Okay, well, not dies, but one of them moves on and lives with his wife, and then he dies. And he always thinks about what could have been with the other. Love that. Sign me up all the time. Also, this is what the synopsis says. In 1940, David Spotswold goes up to Oxford University. Charismatic and good-looking, he seems to have little awareness of the effect he has on others, not least the lonely and romantic Everett Dex. Ooh. As the Blit rages 50 miles away in London, the university exists in a strange limbo, in which nightly blackouts conceal secret liaisons. Aware that they will soon be called up, the two men forge an unlikely friendship, because they were always roommates, that will color their lives for decades to come. Does that not sound good? Ellen, you just might be my favorite author after reading these. I don't know. Let's see where this journey takes us. Next up, I got The Apollo Blue by James Cahill. I have always wanted this book for so long. This is also a secondhand pickup from the very same bookstore that I got The Swimming Pool Library, surprisingly. The woman was like, if you're picking that up, you might as well take this one because this was inspired by The Swimming Pool Library. And I was like, you're just trying to get me to spend more money. I'll take them both. Funny story, I actually have run into this book before I actually went to that bookstore. I saw this book in a different cover, which was this cover, and I never picked it up, and I added it to my Amazon in this cover again specifically because I wanted it in this cover, and it just was not available to purchase in this cover, and only this cover was available, and I was like, I don't want this cover. I don't, but I really want to read this book so bad. So then when I went to the bookstore and that lady suggested it, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give in and pick it up in this cover. What's the worst that could happen? It's still going to be the same story, and this cover is gorgeous, okay? It is also set in Cambridge, but in 1994, which is it was just a lot later than I would really like for it to be set, but it's still in Cambridge, okay? Next up, we have The First to Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with Adam Silvera. They both die in the end. Meh. A lot of people spoke so highly of it. A lot of people were like, this book is gonna break you. This book is gonna, this book is gonna be your favorite book of all time. You're gonna love this book. It left me crying. And I went into it with such high hopes because I love a tragedy. And then I read it and he did such a, you know what? I'm not gonna discredit the book. The book was really well written. It was a really good book. Do not get me wrong. The story was very good, but he just did a very, in my opinion, sloppy job at making me care about the two main characters. So when they actually died, I was like, oh well. Oh well, I guess they did. So I decided to give him another chance, and I got the sequel. Oh, the prequel. Oh yeah, prequel. I got the prequel to They Both Die in the End, and I'm really hoping this is gonna be good. Also, They Both Die in the End is being adapted into a TV series for Netflix. So I'm so excited. I really hope they do a good job with the series. So yeah, this is the first to die at the end. It is the prequel. I'm hoping it's gonna be really good. It's also a bit chunky. It is a bit chunky, but the text is very spaced inside. So I'm not really worried. I should be done with this book within a week. Now we get into Wolf Song by T.J. Klune. T.J. Klune is one of the authors that the gays rave about. I guess he wrote, I don't know, I don't remember the title, but something by the Syrian Lake, A House by the Syrian, or something like that. And a lot of people really love that book. But Wolf Song is about gay werewolves. And I was like, I'm gonna pick that up. I miss Teen Wolf. Oh my god, I miss Teen Wolf so much. So I was like, you know what? I just want to read about werewolves. And now that I know they're gay, I'm definitely gonna pick it up. It should be good. It's beefy. It's a chunky book. But one of my favorite creators on TikTok is Aaron Book Daddy, who does a fantastic job at recommending gay books by gay authors, because he feels like a lot of the top 10 gay books that are trending are by women, which is not a bad thing in my opinion, but it's nice to hear our stories come from us at times. So he does a really fantastic job at recommending all of these books by queer authors, and I love that. And this was one of the books that he recommended, and I decided to pick it up. Another book that he recommended was actually Fake Dates and Mooncakes. I read this book immediately after picking it up. I loved it so much. This was so fun. This was like Crazy Rich Asians, but make it gay and make it just so cute. Next up, we have The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I know I'm late to this. A lot of y'all read The Perks of Being a Wallflower in middle school, I think. Yeah, a lot of my peers were reading this in middle school, but it just never interested me then, okay? Also, I wasn't a massive reader. If it wasn't anything Twilight, vampires, werewolves, witches in middle school, I was not picking it up, okay? Because I was like, life is boring anyway. Why would I want to read about regular teenagers? But this was really good. I also read it. And then I watched the film afterwards, and I was like, thank God. Thank God I read it before I watched the film, okay? Because the film absolutely sucked, okay? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The film was so bad. And now we have Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman. Love Alice Oseman, one of my comfort authors. I know anything by her is gonna be something good. Something really, you know, something that feels like a warm hug. Loved this one. I just felt like, you know, okay, maybe not loved a lot, because I just felt like the conflict was a bit boring, but I also understand that these are high school students. They're gonna fight about the silliest things, you know? They're not gonna fight about real serious things. I mean, we barely fight about serious things and we're in college, so, you know, it's pretty much the same thing, you know what I mean? But cute, really cute, loved it, so fun, felt like a warm hug, easy to read also, like really easy to read, so. Okay. And now we get into the last two. These are not gay, but I really am obsessed with this series, and this is the Inheritance Game series. This is book 3 and book 4. This is The Final Gambit, as well as The Brothers Hawthorne. I read the Inheritance Games earlier this year. My best friend bought it for me for my birthday, actually last year. So I really loved it. I loved it. It was so quick. It was so fun. It was really like engaging. It was just fun, you know, like escapism. And the Hawthorne Legacy, which is book 2, was also really good. But you can tell that it was setting up for book 3. Because it wasn't as focused as book 1 was. So I'm excited for book 3, which is The Final Gambit. And then there's book 4, which, oh my god, let me tell you, okay? I ran everywhere to get book 4. But when I went to the bookstore the other day to pick up American Psycho, I found out that they have The Brothers Hawthorne in the same size as the first 3. The regret that went through my body, because I was just like, I should have waited. And then I could have gotten it in the same size, because this is chunky as hell and it does not match with the rest of the series. Because you see what not being patient does to you. But yeah. Anyway, that is it for this book haul. This is a really fun video for me to make. I just love yapping. I really love yapping. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please tell me which books you're excited for me to read. Have you read any of the books that I showed today? Are you excited about anything that I would be getting into? Did I perhaps convince you to add some to your TBR. I know I didn't tell you what the books were about, but I also didn't want this to be too long. Yeah, also, I don't know what some of these books are about, okay? I see gay and I pick up. Love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Remember, if you do not slay, then you do not stay. And that's on period. Bye. Also support your local libraries, okay? Bye.